Well, good morning. It's Jim here from the swing. Hey, we were talking yesterday. I didn't get very far on that subject yesterday, did I? But that's okay. We're talking about the actually how God was dealing with the people that He chose to represent Himself through, the children of Israel. And we also found out the fact that they were just as human as you can imagine, because their leader, their inspirer, their one that was called by God to be the kind of the instrument of all God's miracles, had been gone for 40 days. And they got so frustrated. I mean, now God was taking care of them. I mean, they had plenty to eat. They had everything they needed. God was taking care of them, but they got so frustrated, and they had to have a God. It just goes to show you that it explains that why all of us, there's a hole in our heart that says, I need a supreme being to help me. I need a God. I need somebody to look to. And this is every human has something within them that they desire to worship. They want to worship. And they had never seen, or they never had a God that they couldn't see. All their gods they could see. So what they did, here's what happened. We just finished off, and He brought them to Aaron, all the gold and the earrings and such. And he received the gold from their hand, and he fashioned with an engraving tool. That's very important to understand. He fashioned with an engraving tool, and made a molded calf. Then they said, "This is your God, O Israel, that brought you out of the land of Egypt." Can you imagine that? They mold this gold into an image of a calf. Now, why a calf? Well, remember when they were back, they were thinking that the cows were one of the main gods. The cow, Apis, the bull. They looked at, he came from the god Peta. You won't remember that, neither will I. But there was Apis the bull that came from the god Peta, and Pharaoh would go out into the herd, and they would find these specific markings on a certain bull. And when he said, "Oh, that's the god Apis," they would bring that bull in. They would give him a harem of cows, and they would feed him the best. And that cow was the god. And I read one where this was the god of that protected in foreign lands also. So why did they pick a calf? Well, because probably didn't have enough gold to have a big bull, so they made a calf. And they made this calf representing the God that would help them in foreign lands. And so it was a crazy thing. And they just built this calf, and listen to what they did. And when Aaron saw the calf, when he finished it up, now remember, he used a tool to engrave this thing, built it with a tool. Remember in Exodus 20:25, God says, "Do not use a tool in anything that's bringing someone to me. I want it to come out of a hewn rock. I don't want anybody to get any credit for making something man-made that would allow you to come to me. It's not man-made. Your salvation's not man-made. My salvation's not man-made. I'm telling you what, when we come to God, we're going to come to God because of what He's done for us, not what we do for Him. We talk about this all the time, but this is another point. You cannot use man-made tools to get to God. I mean, sometimes we try, but it doesn't work. And so then here's what happened right after that. And Aaron saw the calf, and all the people just going nuts for this gold calf. He built an altar before it. Now look, everybody, if they don't have Jesus and they don't have God, they make their own gods. It may be what they own. It may be their money. They may be their position. They may possessions and position, and maybe they just love the power. We've gone through 4 years of power back and forth of leadership. All they want, they'll spend all kinds of money because their God is power. They want to have power, and they'll do anything. But let me tell you something. Every God that we put in our lives, and whatever you put in your life, you say, "I'm going to honor this. I want this to make me feel good. I want this to fill the hole of emptiness that where God only and God belong." He said, it will demand an altar, and you will have to sacrifice for that. How many men, I've talked to how many men and how many women have sacrificed their family for the position of a company. How many people have sacrificed so much, their health, for the God of pleasure and doing everything they want to do. How many times have you built your gods and you didn't realize how much of a sacrifice it's going to take to keep them? And then you build these gods that will let you down. There's one God that won't let you down, and it's our Jehovah Jireh, our provider. He'll never leave us nor forsake us. Aren't you glad you serve a living God that wants the best for you? Well, we'll continue tomorrow, okay? Let the Lord be with you today in a very special way.